Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining the session. Merlin, our speaker, is in the room. We are ready for an on-time start at 3:55 p.m. Eastern Time. So sit tight and we'll get started in a couple of minutes. Thanks for joining the session, everyone. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining the session. Merlin is in the room. We are ready for an on-time start at 3:55 p.m. Eastern Time. So just sit tight and we will get started momentarily. Thanks again for joining with us. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining the session. We're going to a couple of bits of housekeeping. We'll jump right into Merlin's presentation. First and foremost, we want to thank everybody who joins us at Money Show virtual events and, of course, face-to-face conferences. Keep your feedback coming, please, to us as we get better and better bringing this information to you. Secondly, if this is the first time you're watching us on the virtual platform, there is a chat box, a live chat box to the right of Merlin's player where you're watching him. Send questions over during his presentation. We're going for 30 minutes to 4:25 Eastern, but time permitting, we're going to be able to ask Merlin a couple of questions live, so don't hesitate. Send those questions over. With that said, it is my great pleasure to introduce to everybody Merlin Rothfeld, who has been an active trader since 1996 and is currently a senior director at Trading Academy. As one of the first students of the academy, he took his expertise to Europe, where he built financial training materials for banks, brokerages, and universities, including the first ever trading lab in Europe. His experience ranges from long-term investing to short-term high-volume trading. Merlin trades stocks, options, futures, forex, and cryptocurrencies. He has led the development of OTA's digital asset program and is featured on the company's Monday Morning Must Knows show. Merlin, great to have you back, sir. The floor is now yours, okay?
Awesome. Thank you very much. And welcome, everybody. Hopefully, we'll have a fun-packed 30-minute session here today. Today's is a little bit different. Most people are looking at the crypto side of things from a get-rich-quick perspective. How much money can I make and how quickly can I make it? Typically, I've been trading for over 30 years. Typically, when you have a perspective like that, where people are looking at how much money they can make very quickly, it opens up the doorway to tons and tons of scammers. This was very prevalent back in the dot-com era. There were so many scammers. And now it's even more, you guys get your mic on. It's even more pronounced.
I don't normally hit anybody in the budget.
Let me turn your mic off, guys.
I'm not giving you $20 this time.
Turn your mic off, guys.
They can't fit. See that.
Sorry about that.
No problem. When you're looking at theft and crime, when you have a new topic, a new industry and something that's nascent, you're going to get thieves and scammers out there. And the most dangerous market to be in right now, with the most scammers, the most fraud, the most everything other than politics, is going to be cryptocurrency. So today's presentation is all about the different scams that are going to be inundating you and what you can do to prevent it, and really more about what the right process is to approach crypto and be involved in that market without taking on too much risk. So I'll ask this question just blankly, and anybody wants to type into the chat, go for it. Is crypto a scam? I do a lot of presentations, and there's always people in the room, in the auditorium, whatever, that believe that crypto is a scam. And if you do think it's a scam, type in the chat. It's fine, because I will tell you, if you're going off of statistical probability, yes, crypto is a scam. I say that because it's a pure math equation. And the reason I say that is if 99.9999% of something was fraudulent, I think we would all agree that in general, you would say that asset, that subject, whatever it is fraudulent. If 99.9999% of it is fraud, we're going to round it up and say it's fraud. Well, look how many different cryptocurrencies there are. And I thought this was kind of interesting for you. I did this presentation on September 1st of last year, and you can see down here at the bottom, it said there was 21,064,640,000 different cryptocurrencies. Keep in mind, 21 million cryptocurrencies is more than all of the stock products, futures products, options products, bond products, credit default swap products on every exchange in every country around the world combined. In that, there's going to be so much scam and fraud. Now, I updated this image to last night. This is from the 26th. It has already jumped to 30 million. So we now have over 30 million different cryptocurrencies. And if we take that math, that equation, and say that 99.9999% of them are frauds and scams, that still means that there's 3,083 companies that are worth their salt, that are doing something good. So we'll start from that perspective of there's plenty of opportunity in this space, but you've got to realize that the vast majority of the garbage that you're going to be buying into or being pushed by your friends on social media, your neighbor, your shoe shine, whoever it is, they're going to be pumping an agenda, which typically will get them rich. So that's where your first part of the scam is going to start. There's plenty of opportunity, but there's also a tremendous amount of danger that you have to pay attention to. So in this session, I'm really going to focus on how to spot these scams, avoid the traps, protect your capital, and I'll walk you through just a very simple framework to protect yourself from getting into bad investments. So let's start off with some of the common red flags when it comes to crypto. And I apologize, I got a sore throat over here. I'm one of the ones that's recovering from a cold. First and foremost, what I see in this industry is typically people with unrealistic expectations and promises of guarantees. Later on we'll talk about the pig butchering scam, but typically there are websites, there are people that will contact you on social media, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and they'll start a discourse with you and they make all these grandiose promises of, hey, I'm making 30% rate of returns per month. Okay, 30% rate of returns per month. And they're like, oh, we can guarantee it. Look, the greatest investor of all time, is Warren Buffett. And some may argue it's Peter Lynch, it's Benjamin Graham. These are the best fundamental analysts and investors of all time. And their track record over 30, 40 years is roughly 30%. That is a 30% compounding rate of return per year. That is an unbelievable rate of return. To set realistic expectations, what's realistic? The S&P 500 averages 8 to 10% per year. So let's call it 9, be generous. If 9% rate of return is the average for the S&P 500, what makes you think that you're going to get 30% rate of returns per month or even 10% rate of returns per month? One of the major red flags is someone promising rates of return. Very dangerous in the crypto world because most people don't understand how crypto actually functions. We could be talking about staking or yield farming or liquidity pools. These are ways to generate income, but up front, if they're promising guaranteed rates of return, it's most likely a scam. There's quite a few of them that do that. Number two is if you had anonymous or unverified team members. So in this process, one of the things that I teach in my program is understand who is on the development team, who's building this product that you are buying into. Remember, every cryptocurrency, whether it's Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, Avalanche, Ripple, they all have a team. Whether that team is centralized or decentralized is a different discussion, but there's always a team of developers there that are working together to make that program better. Who is that team? There's a a great movie. Let me take the word back. Great. There's a movie on Netflix. I believe it's called Bitcon. And there's these two guys that basically go on LinkedIn and they fake a profile that they both went to Harvard University and all these great experiences with nobody verifying that information. A lot of times people put out fake information to sell the grift being the theft of your money. So if you have people who are unknowns and have no connections and no work experience, that should be another red flag for you right out the gate. Another red flag is shady or overly complex tokenomics. For those of you who are new, let me explain what tokenomics are. And if you don't know what they are, just type in the chat and I'll go in a little bit more in depth here. But tokenomics are essentially like shares of a company. When Apple issues shares, there is a certain amount of shares. It's a fixed amount for now. They can always modify it later. But that's called the outstanding shares. Is everything that exists for Apple shares. The float is how many shares are available for you to buy and sell right now. And they're never equal, right? There's usually outstanding shares is always bigger than float. With tokenomics, you have to understand how many of each of these crypto are there. Because people will look at Bitcoin and go, oh gosh, it's 87,000. It's so expensive. I'm going to go buy Shiba Inu, which is 0.0000001 cents. I can buy more of that. Tokenomics tells you how many of those tokens are there. There's only 21 million Bitcoin. Actually, there's only 20 million today. In another 115 years, there will be another million, which means 21 million total. With Shiba Inu, there's 1 quadrillion. So yeah, no wonder it's trading at a fraction of a penny. It's garbage. We'll talk about Shiba Inu a little bit later on. So you have to understand the tokenomics. How many of them are there? Who owns what? How are they distributed? What's the release point? Meaning when a token comes to public, there's usually lockup periods, a period of time where the insiders cannot sell their positions. Well, what's those lockup periods? Because you can see when selling comes into the marketplace. But if you don't understand the tokenomics or it seems awkward, walk away from that investment or that project. Another one would be aggressive social media hype. This one's great for those of you who follow Ripple, XRP, or you look at Shiba Inu. You know, these are the two militant armies on the internet that are always pumping their crypto, right? They call it the XRP army or the Shiba Inu army, and they're fanatics. They're just trying to pump more attention into those cryptos, even though those projects may not be that great. So careful when you see an aggressive social media community. I'll be honest, you actually want a social community that's very active, because I think it was P.T. Barnum that said, I don't care how you, good press or bad press, I don't care. Just spell my name right. So it's attention for those projects. For example, there's another one out there that in 2017 I really liked called Polkadot. Actually, let's just look at EOS, for example. EOS. And EOS had a great product, fantastic product, probably would have been one of the kingpins of the market today, but they have zero social media influence. There's nobody talking about it on social media, and they don't do any marketing. So the project is kind of fizzled out. It's like having that restaurant in town that's absolutely amazing. It's your favorite place. It's the best food you've ever had in your life, but no one other than you eats there. Eventually the doors are going to close. So careful for aggressive social media hype. Lack of transparency or documentation. Most of the scams, the public scams that have happened in crypto, when you look back, you'll see that there was very little information about the project, what they were trying to do, infrastructure, participants, etc. So if you can't find information on it, that's probably a red flag. If there's no history of the developers or what they've been trying to do, you might want to move away from that one. So those are high-level red flags. Now let me talk about rug pulls and explain what a rug pull is. A rug pull is simply a project that is built with the intent to pump it up and dump those shares onto you. And eventually those developers, the people who built it, they just disappear right after. So let me give an example of a great pump and dump that was actually partially perpetrated by President Trump. I know, I don't need to go political here, but I'll go to Melania Coin and Libra Coin too, which are all those types of things. So here we have, let's go Trump, one sec, TRUMP. You know, this was a token project that was built to be a rug pull, and it was designed this way. And what happened was the people who developed this token basically went to President Trump and said, we're going to give you a big block of this. You can have over half of all of them. It doesn't matter. We just want you to tweet about it. And Trump's like, good, going to be huge. This sounds great. Let's do it. So he puts his name on it. He issues a tweet, which was public record. And then that thing goes surging because, of course, Trump has millions and millions and millions of followers. They all buy into it. And you can see the spike up here where it just shot up. And then that was, I think it peaked out here at 77 bucks. You're now trading at $4.82. I'm telling you, this thing is going to go to zero. It has no purpose. There is no use case scenario for this. No one's accepting Trump tokens for payments. It doesn't have any functionality, doesn't have any staking rewards. It is a useless token, just like Pepe Coin. Right, here's another one that is, oops, let's go. Pepe Coin is another, not necessarily a rug pull. This would just be a meme coin, but it serves no purpose. There's nothing to it. There's no project. There's no development, nothing. So eventually it's going to go to zero. You even had with Melania Coin. Right? A lot of celebrities and influencers will put their name on something and pump it, and it's just going to crash. And who's ultimately holding the bag? Most likely retail investors. So if a new coin comes out or a token comes out and you're all excited because you're hearing about it, do a little research on how the tokenomics were issued. If you see that over half, in the case of Trump coin, over half went to President Trump, you've got to go, that's a red flag, right? That just, it's setting up to fail. So rug pulls are very common in the trading and investing world with crypto. Be careful there. Other things there that are cautionary would be low liquidity. It is possible to go and look at how liquid these things are, meaning how much volume is traded on different exchanges. So if you see there's only one market, let's call it a DeFi exchange like Uniswap, and that's the only place this thing is traded, run away. It's probably going to go nowhere. Make sure that before you buy anything, you research those investments, token distribution, you audit it, you look for liquidity locks, as I mentioned earlier. Rug pulls are a big one. We're in a situation right now where the regulatory traps actually aren't that bad, but because we have in front of the US Senate right now the Clarity Act, which they've been stalling, there's a lot of provisions that need to be modified there, regulatory issues may come up. For example, we don't know how quickly things may change in the crypto space based off this legislation in the Clarity Act that's going through the Senate right now. Remember, it's already been approved by the House of Representatives. It's going to go back to the Senate. Once it's in the Senate, once that's done, it goes back to the House, and then Trump will sign it. Some of these tokens that we're talking about may be classified as securities. Ripple is a good example, in my opinion, of something that may be classified as a security. The Howey test is a test that they've been using since, I think, the 1950s to classify whether something is a security. Somewhat ironic, it was done in the 1950s when we didn't have computers, but here we are. The Howey test, one of the provisions is there a development team that's working to build and fix that product in the expectations of generating a profit? Well, if you pull up Ripple Labs, who owns Ripple, they have a CEO, a CFO, a CTO, a CMO. They have a full-on business running it. Technically, Ripple is a security. Now, right now they're spending billions of dollars lobbying, trying to get away from underneath all that regulation. But when this new rule hits, maybe Ripple gets classified as a security and therefore could suffer severely because it now has to go under the SEC regulatory guidelines, which could create problems. And there's going to be many coins and tokens that get put underneath that umbrella of a security, and that may be problematic for them going forward. So failure to comply with these rules. Let's say Ripple does have to become labeled as a security and they can't meet the obligations that the SEC is telling them, then they may be frozen. Inability to trade Ripple anywhere in the US as an extreme example. So careful for that one. It's important that if you are in the crypto space that you pay attention to what's going on at the SEC, at the CFTC, from a commodity perspective, from an equity perspective, and just keep your eye on the regulatory guidelines, even from the Treasury Department and the President, guiding where policy may go. That could give you not only protection, but also give you some head start and advantage over the masses. All right, making sure I don't go over time here. We've got the big one is this: phishing, text, and calls. I'm going to make it very clear up front. Never answer any phone calls, never answer any emails, and don't click on any text. It's just ridiculous. Here. Never click a link in any email you get. And this isn't just crypto, guys. Let's stop being stupid. I mean, my dad, sometimes I want to just slap him across the face. I'm like, Pops, wake up already. You're ridiculous. Stop clicking these links that you get in your email. You'll get sensational things like this. I actually took a screenshot from my actual email account. Here's one right here. Coinbase, action required. New phone number linked to your Coinbase account. That's designed to instill fear. You're like, oh my goodness, I didn't set up a new phone number. Oh no, I better contact him. If you click on this, you're gonna get this email. It says Coinbase, new phone number added, and you're like, that's not my phone number. There's this button right here that says take action. If you click that button that says take action, you're screwed. Don't know exactly what happens because I will never click on it. But number one, you may be downloading a virus on your computer. Number two, it may take you to a landing page where they give you all sorts of supportive information and tell you to call them. And now you're in touch with an Indian call center with some guy named Steve who is telling you to share your computer resources because there's a problem with your computer. And next thing you know, not only is all your crypto stolen out of your accounts, but all your personal data on your computer is gone. Don't click a link from an email. Can I make it any more obvious? Not only that, but look at Coinbase. The C is even written incorrectly here. When you click over it, this is where it's coming from, info-umufumu@smartbin.com. I'm pretty sure that's not Coinbase. Well, let's not be stupid here. Be diligent about what you're clicking on. Next one to be, you get a text message. Some of us have gotten these. Here's a text message that was sent to me. Text message, Coinbase, the OPT code for your withdrawal is blah, blah, blah. Call us, here's your reference code. Of course, you didn't make a transaction, so now you're freaking out and you call them. No. Don't do it. If you call this number, you are now with a support system and they're going to convince you that someone has hacked your computer and they will fix it for you. Just install the software and let me steal all your crypto and all your money. Don't respond to these. I'll tell you the solution and how to remain calm, collected, and controlled in this environment. But leave this garbage alone. But wait, Merlin, they actually called me and left me a voicemail. If this was not you, please dial. If this was hang up, a Coinbase fraud prevention team will help you out. This is a scam number. This is probably going through a call center in India using a mixer that brings out a phone number in the United States that sounds all official. Do not call this number. There is no call number for CoinDesk. Their tech support actually sucks pretty bad. So all three of these are nevers. And it's not just for crypto. This is for Bank of America. This is if the Social Security Department contacts you via an email, text, or phone number. You know, what should you do? Well, first, again, never let anybody access your computer. If anyone ever asks you to install a software on your computer, just laugh and hang up on them, all right? Get rid of it. So what should you do? Well, it's pretty simple. Honestly, you should just simply go directly to the source. So if this is, all of these are through Coinbase because Coinbase has been hacked multiple times. If you have a problem and you're scared that someone has compromised your account, someone has your login, someone's stealing money, go directly to the website of Coinbase.com, log in, and you'll see at the very top, I may even have it open here so I share with you. Hold on one second. I'll go to my Coinbase account here since I'm sharing my whole screen. All right, so here is my Coinbase account. So let's say all those things happen to me. I got text and voicemail and messages and I'm freaking out. Well, if you go up here to the top, you'll see there's 22 alerts. Oh no, could my account have been hacked? I click on this. I can go over here and go to security alerts. And there's nothing there. My account's safe. I can even go to here to account activity, and you'll see there's definitely been, I did a deposit today, so that one showed up. But for the most part, don't freak out, right? Don't fall for this grift of fear and panic that someone is hacking your crypto. Go directly to the site, whether it's Coinbase or Kraken or Binance or Gemini. Go directly there. Never click any link that's sent to you by email, phone call, text, any of that stuff. All right. Next, the pig butchering scam. I love this one. This is one of the biggest scams in crypto. There is literally billions of dollars stolen. I have taught hundreds of students crypto and digital assets, and this is one that always comes up in every single class that I teach. The pig butchering scam. How does it work? Okay. So you're sitting there online one day and you're in your LinkedIn account or Facebook or something, and some message pops up in your computer, you know, and usually it targets men. I hate to say it, sorry, it sounds sexist, but it usually targets us men. And it's usually some very attractive woman who will, you know, build a friendship with us. And you have done something, whether they've looked through your post or you've commented Bitcoin or anything to do with crypto, now they're going to target you. So they'll build this relationship with you. They'll DM you, and next thing you know, they're like, "Hey, Merlin, this is Maria. I'd say you like Bitcoin, yeah?" So we'll start a discussion there. Over time, and a very short period of time, by the way, it's not a sexual thing anyway. It's just you're attracted to this person, and they're all of a sudden doing very well with crypto. So they start telling you how well they're doing. They're like, "Man, I'm making so much money." They're boasting rates of return like 100% per month. Okay, so you double your money every month, which we all know sounds too good to be true. Which it is. But anyway, you're in disbelief. You're like, no, there's no way. And then they show you their trade statements. They'll be like, no, check it out. The guy that runs this fund's a PhD. He uses AI. He's a doctor. Whatever the catchy thing to make you feel more comfortable is, they will sell you on that this PhD is a genius in the markets and he's using AI to trade the markets and he gets 100% rate of return per month. And here's my statements to prove it. And in fact, the statements do show that they have made 100% rate of return in the last month, and she'll show you a couple months. So you're now on the hook. You're like, wow, really? I can't believe it. So what do? You're skeptical, you're cautious. You send in $1,000. And sure enough, in 30 days, it's now at $2,000. And you're scared. You're like, this is too good to be true. So you cash it out. You cash out. You take your $2,000, you're like, man. And they send it to you, by the way. So you got to ask yourself a question. You thought this was a scam. This lovely lady is telling you got a PhD doctor who's using AI to trade crypto for me, getting 100% rate of return per month. I deposited $1,000. It's doubled in a month, like they said. What are you going to do now? Right? What are you going to do now? You're probably going to go, okay, I'm in. And you send over $100,000. You will never see that money ever again. Actually, it's even worse. I dealt with a friend who had a friend, and what they had done was they had taken $100,000, deposited in there, and now it was like $1 million because month over month over month compounding. So it's over $1 million, and they tried to take it out. The people they contacted said, well, because you're withdrawing such a large amount, the U.S. Government wants their taxes. You need to pay $30,000 in taxes on this. They sent over $30,000 extra and never heard from those people again. This is the pig butchering scam, right? Unrealistic expectations. Those trade statements were modified. I can print out trade statements today. If you guys wanted, I could make them give me another half hour, and I could make a trade statement to show I made $1 million every day for the last decade, right? I can fabricate fake documents. I mean, that's no big deal to do, especially when it comes to trading. So the pig butchering scam is probably the most prolific grift in all of crypto. So be very, very, very careful when anybody approaches you with regards to crypto. So what should you do? You should always be asking these questions. And it's kind of funny because I talk to a lot of people in the crypto space and they'll say, hey, what do you think about blah, blah, blah? And I say, well, you tell me. Tell me everything you know about blah, blah, blah. And most of the time they can't say anything. They know like two things. When anybody asks me about a crypto, I'll ask them this question. Is this a unique project? Or is it something that's been around forever? Is it got 10,000 competitors? What do you know about this project? Is it needed? One project that came to me was for airline points blockchain. I don't think that's really needed. So maybe another layer one. There's plenty layer one blockchains out there. Does it need to be an identity token? Possibly. But if it's a unique project and it's needed, then it has some validity. Is there a team in place to make it happen? Or is it some 14-year-old kid in his mom's basement, watching reruns of Friends and making a crypto? I can make a cryptocurrency, by the way, everybody here, in 7 minutes. It takes 7 minutes for me to create one. So is there a real team in place to make it happen? Are there any competitors? What are the tokenomics? How many coins are there? How many tokens are there? How is it distributed? All these things must be answered before you think about putting one penny into the crypto space, because the vast majority of everything out there is going to be fraudulent. All right. Other things that you want to be asking about the project that you're investing in. If you're buying into a specific crypto, these are pieces. The other part would be if you're using a different exchange, how long they've been around. I always encourage people to stay with the major exchanges, the major wallets. As you go to the App Store and download a crypto app for your phone, there are people who will pay to have their app at the very top. And sometimes those apps have a back door, which means the crypto gets stolen. Stick with the major stuff like MetaMask or Coinbase or Trust Wallet. These are some of the bigger names that have been around a while. Exodus is another good one. Don't use websites or apps that are small that no one's ever heard of. At a minimum, go online and say, I'm doing research for the next 2 hours on this website that I plan to use to make a bunch of money, and see what the comments are. Generally, if you dig, you'll see a lot of fraud, scam. But greed causes us to overlook that and want to jump into these things. So I'll give you a simple kind of guideline here that I would encourage you to follow. And this is actually how I've approached the financial markets for the last 30 years. I would say one of my main things when I'm looking at any investment, and not take it outside of crypto as well, we're talking real estate, stocks, options, futures, doesn't matter. I always approach it like everything's a fraud. And I know this is not a comfortable way to live, but in the financial world, you're dealing with so much theft, corruption, and deception that you have to go in like a boxer goes into the ring. No boxer that wants to survive long in the ring will walk in with their arms around their waist all happy-go-lucky. Guard up, right? You're protecting yourself at all times. Even the referee says, protect yourself at all times. In the trading world, people barely ever protect themselves. It's just embarrassing watching so many people lose their hard-earned money because they just got overzealous, thought they were going to get rich quick and be better than everybody else, and got their money stolen from them through bad investments or just scams. So I think you should act as if everything is a fraud. For example, if you took a class with me, I would probably make a comment that I think Ethereum is a very good project. Don't take my word for it. Go do your research, dig and find out all that information that I'm using to formulate my opinions and see if you come up with the same conclusion. So act as if everything is a fraud. Number 2, do extensive research on multiple sources. Don't just go to ChatGPT or Claude and be like, is Ethereum a good project? They're going to give you what they've gleaned from the web. And I think we can do better than what AI gives you. Number 3, never click, call, or text anyone in crypto. Now, I say in crypto. What I mean is if they're targeting you through email, if they're targeting you through your cell phone, if they're targeting you through giving you direct calls, forget it. Leave it alone. Generally, that's going to be a scam, and you'll know right away. And I hope none of you have fallen victim to that one. Number 4, understand what you're investing in. As I mentioned, I gave you kind of a checklist earlier, like, is this project unique? Is this project needed? When I say a project, remember, each cryptocurrency is usually designed for a specific task or function. Ripple is designed to be a payment network. Bitcoin is designed to be peer-to-peer cash payments, transfer value. Ethereum is designed to be think of it like an electrical network. It's really the largest decentralized computer in the world that people can build on top of, right? That's another big value added there for something like Ripple, or Ethereum. Know these things before you buy into it and be comfortable buying into it. Warren Buffett, best investor of all time, is not going to buy into a company because someone said, hey, you should really check out Dairy Queen. He ran the numbers and he understood the business. He said, okay, this one's right for me. Lastly on this list, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. There is no mistaking this mantra in the markets that's been around forever. You're not going to make 100% rate of return in a month. Can you make 100% rate of return in a month? Yes. Can you do it consistently month after month? Absolutely not. And I don't care what AI says or what you guys believe. There is nobody out there who's making 100% rates of return per month, every month, guaranteed. Not going to happen. It is mathematically impossible to do something like that, even if you control the purse strings of the market itself. Not going to happen. So that type of claim, ridiculous, walk away from it. You know, the key here is to find projects that you like to invest in or actively trade, understand how that project works, and get the most out of it. So that said, I think I'm actually at my time. I got about a minute left. I've got a QR code on the screen here. If you like this, want to learn a little bit more about crypto, there's a 6-lesson foundation program that I built, which will talk to you about blockchain, how these things work, what's the mechanics behind it, and things like that. You can just scan that QR code. This is done for Trading Academy. And yeah, just sign up. You get a free 6 class there. If you'd like to learn more, we obviously have classes on it, but this program here is free with that QR code. So thank you guys so much for today. I hope you will learn something along the way. I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule because it is during the day and it's lunchtime for somebody somewhere. So that said, thank you guys very much, and I look forward to seeing you at the next presentation. I'll be in Vegas here in about 3 weeks. I'll be doing 4 or 5 presentations there, so hopefully we'll see you in Las Vegas. All right, we're good to go.
Excellent, Merlin. Thank you. Great presentation. People need to see this. Folks, we do keep these recordings up on the experts section on moneyshow.com when this virtual conference is over. But yes, Merlin, we're looking forward to seeing you February 23rd to the 25th at Paris Resorts. You've got multiple presentations on tap. We're excited about that and looking forward to seeing you. But thank you again for doing this for us. And thank everybody, all the virtual attendees for attending. This is the last session of the day, but come back and see us tomorrow. We've got a full slate. Merlin, thank you again. We appreciate the work you do for us.
My pleasure. You guys have a great day.
Thank you, sir. Be well. Everybody have a great week. Thanks all.